Hello everyone, I'm Angie, founder of the Sanctuary Sophia. It's been a little while since we gathered here. When this podcast began, the intention was to bring you a new conversation every couple of weeks, and life happens. Things shift, things weave. So for now, this time, what I would really like to do is talk to you about something that's really been affecting me this year, and that is, where have all the bees gone? So those of you who don't know, I am a beekeeper, and the honeybee has been woven through my spiritual path and my work for many, many years. They are part of the Sanctuary of Sophia. They are the bee temple, and they're part of my teachings. They really help me understand community, goddess, and our relationship directly with Mother Earth. But over the last winter, I lost all of my hives, 3 colonies, just gone. And then something else happened. This long hot summer, I began looking around the land here on Exmoor and really started noticing the absence of the honeybees. Not just fewer bees, there were whole days where I simply wasn't seeing them. And once you notice an absence like that, it's really difficult to stop noticing. I'd look at flowers that should have been alive, buzzing with the bees. Nothing. I'd walk around listening for that familiar background hum, and nothing. And we've gone week after week without proper rain. The land has been so dry. The plants are struggling. Everything felt dirty, dusty, thirsty. And I found myself asking a very simple question. Where are the bees? Literally, where are they? So the bees as messengers. Of course, there are practical and ecological conversations we need to have around the bees. The climate, habitat, forage, pesticides, disease, all of that. And the pressures placed upon our pollinators and the amazing ecosystems that sustain them. And those conversations matter enormously. But this is when the womb speaks. So I want to ask another question. What if we listened to their absence? And by that I mean, rather than asking, how do we get the bees back? We ask, what are the bees showing us? Because human beings are very good at noticing something when it disappears. We often don't notice what we have while it is quietly sustaining us. So the soil, the water, the trees, the seasons, our bodies, even one another, until something changes, something hurts, something stops working, something disappears. And now, doesn't that sound familiar? Because isn't that how often we treat our bodies too? We push, we override, we carry on, we become exhausted and tell ourselves we should be doing more. We ignore the whispers until the body has to shout or scream. And perhaps there's a connection here between the womb and the hive. I've spent many, many years listening to women talk about their wombs. Women who have felt disconnected from their cycles. Women who have been grieving the loss of their womb. Women entering menopause and wondering who the hell they are now. Women carrying trauma. And women who've spent decades looking after everybody else, and they suddenly realise they have absolutely no idea what they need themselves. Again and again, underneath all those different stories, I hear something similar. A loss of relationship, a loss of listening. And maybe that's also what's happening right now between us and Mother Earth. We've stopped listening. We expect the land to keep producing. We expect our bodies to keep producing. Society expects women to keep producing, keep giving, keep nurturing, keep working, keep holding and keep going. And the bee knows something about work. You know the phrase, busy as a bee. But the hive isn't simply an endless giving factory. It's a relationship. They need right relationship with communication, cooperation, rest, temperature, food, birth, death, transformation, and extraordinary collective intelligence. Every single bee exists within a web of right relationship, and so do we. So what happens when that rhythm breaks? And I wonder how many women are really feeling this at the moment. A sense that something about the rhythm of modern life simply is not working. We have more ways of communicating than ever before. Yet so many of us feel deeply lonely. We have more information about well-being and health than any generation before us. Yet we're constantly being told to heal ourselves, improve ourselves, fix ourselves. And sometimes I just want to ask, when do we get to live simply? When do we get to just be in the body we have now? When do we get to stop treating our bodies as projects? So I've worked in healing for many years, and I believe really deeply in healing work. But there also comes a point when we have to ask, what comes after healing? Who am I if I am no longer organising my identity around the wounds I carry? What if I'm healed? Who am I becoming? What brings me joy now? What am I creating? What do I love? Where do I belong? And perhaps these are hive questions too. One of the things the bees have taught me again and again is that we were never designed to do everything alone. And that's something I've witnessed within the sanctuary as well. Women often arrive thinking they're coming to learn a technique or take a training, and then something else happens. They find one another. Sisterhood happens. Someone understands something they haven't even been able to put into words. Someone witnesses them, sits beside them and says, "Me too." And suddenly the healing isn't simply about an individual journey anymore. It becomes relational. That's one of the things I want to explore more deeply through this podcast. What does genuine sisterhood really look like? Not the romanticised version. Real sisterhood. The beautiful bits and the difficult bits. Belonging, differences, boundaries, repair, community. And how we can remain ourselves while also being part of something greater. The hive has much to teach us on this. So perhaps the invitation isn't simply to save the bees. Perhaps the first invitation is to notice them. Notice when they arrive. Notice what they're feeding on. Plant something for them. Leave a little wildness in your garden. Learn the names of the beings sharing a land with you. And perhaps while we're noticing or learning to notice them again, we can begin noticing ourselves. What is your body whispering? Not shouting, but whispering. What are you tired of? What are you longing for? What have you become too busy to notice? What nourishes you? Where might you need community? Where do you need to rest? And what in you is ready to become alive again? And you don't need to answer all those questions. Just notice which one made something moved inside you, because that's where the conversations begin. And that's where I want When the Womb Speaks to go now, into these conversations, into the womb and the hive, into the body and Mother Earth, menopause, aging, blood, sexuality, grief, pleasure, sisterhood, spirituality, modern womanhood, the things we're frightened to talk about, and the things we're simply curious to talk about. Sometimes I'll bring another woman to sit in beside me, and sometimes it will just be you and me. And I want you to help shape these conversations. So tell me, what are women not talking about enough? What would you like me to bring into this space? You can message me through the Sanctuary of Sophia or respond when I share this episode on social media. I really want to hear from you. And if you know another woman who would enjoy these conversations, please share When the Womb Speaks with her and follow the podcast so you'll know when our next episode arrives. I'm going to leave you with one very simple invitation. Sometime today, go outside, find a flower if you can. Stand quietly beside it for a moment and look. Is anybody visiting? A honeybee, a bumblebee, a hoverfly, a butterfly? Or perhaps nobody at all. Don't try to make it mean anything, just notice. Because relationship begins with attention. And perhaps remembering how to pay attention is one of the most sacred things we can do. So thank you for coming back and sitting with me. This feels like a beginning of a new chapter, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where these conversations take us. Until next time, keep listening to your body, to Mother Earth, to the hum of the hive, and to all those quiet places within you that perhaps haven't been heard for a very long time. Because when the womb speaks, we listen.